I know, right? Okay, I'm gonna hit record. I know a lot of people are freaking out. I've been getting messages all day, and they think it's the end of the world. It is not in the end of the world. Well, maybe not troubles for the conservatives, but I mean, we all know that the government is just two wings of the same bird, basically. Nothing much is going to change. Maybe a little policies that would affect, let's say, our daily lives, like the climate change thing and, raising taxes and just the normal stuff, right?
Yeah, I think that there's going to be change, but it's not going to be any different from the road that we were going down with, the previous administration.
Right.
The rhetoric's different, and the supporters are different, but at the end of the day, they all serve the same machine,
Exactly.
which is
Exactly.
unfortunate because it leaves us to fend for ourselves against multifaceted, unlimited funded groups that are highly organized and they do not have our best interest at heart, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even before, of course, the whole thing with Trump, about, I would say 2 months ago, I saw that Gavin Newsom, Garcetti, Whitmer, Murphy joined into the Paris Climate Agreement behind Trump's back, or with his knowledge, I am not sure, but they were on the Zoom meeting with them and they agreed to be involved in the whole thing, which is, I think it's a big part of the whole Great Reset. And people seem to be still unaware of the Great Reset and the whole plan from the World Economic Forum, Bill Gates, and where are we really heading with that? And it's a disaster. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to like to scare people, but it is a disaster for our economy, for the way things were before. I actually downloaded a PDF version of Klaus Schwab, who is the president of the World Economic Forum, his book. And I was reading through it, and they are referring to the world right now, ACBC, before coronavirus and after coronavirus.
Mhm.
I mean, like, just the way they are referring to it as in biblical terms, right? That was
Mhm.
kind of like really shocking to me, but they are. This is just, I think it's another wheel in the whole series of wheels where from, I think, years and years ago, where we heading. This is not shouldn't be surprising, obviously, but because people that looked into the whole United Nation Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, is not going to be surprised because, I mean, it's been set from a long time ago. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know how far back it goes, but it's definitely been planned for at least several generations. And that's how these people, behave. And not to get too conspiratorial, but it's been the same people in charge for, since before we were ever born. It's the same bloodlines, the same handful of, elite families that have been, pulling the levers of power from behind the scenes before, but now they're doing it at the forefront. That's the interesting thing. Now they're all coming out, and I think they're pushing things ahead so quickly now is because they have the technology to be able to control people, and they're able to do that through the internet and social media in conjunction with the mainstream media, and it's literal mind control. Before everything happening, people in the conspiracy realm or whatever would kind of talk about mind control, and people kind of shrug it off. But now you see it; it's here. You know what I mean?
Well,
They
obviously, yeah.
literally through Facebook and Twitter, and they're intentionally doing it, and they don't hide it. That's the whole purpose behind it all, which it all leads back to government programs, DARPA, and intelligence agencies. All of the social media platforms do, and that's why they're clamping down on people now because they need to lock the narrative down, just like they've locked us down physically. Now they're going to lock us down mentally. So, yeah, it's been going a long time, and you're right. It goes all the way back to Agenda 21 and 2030, and it's all intertwined. And that's the thing that people need to understand is that there's not a Democratic Party and a Republican Party. There's not a United States government and a Chinese Communist Party. It's all one big machine, and they all work together. And everything that we watch is a big stage show.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. It is a big clown show, honestly. Like, especially when I saw the Congress were having congressional hearings with the tech CEOs. I mean, who is this show for? If they can eventually censor the president of the United States of America, the most powerful man on earth, and to see that he is being silenced by our own American companies. I mean, is this for real? Is this this is all a clown show? I mean, obviously he can do something about it right on the spot, but
Yep.
he didn't, because he wants to be off these platforms so he doesn't get attacked once he leaves his supporters, strung behind him, which is kind of weird. I heard today about the pardons that he gave
Oh
to a
yeah.
bunch of criminals instead of Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, who are actual heroes. So that was kind of disappointing, and I think people are even freaking out more. But it would be a wake-up call for, the people, the conservatives, the people on the right, to see actually that, okay, there is nobody good in politics. You have to sell your soul, basically, to, become a politician, and because there's a lot of players with all special interests, and they only feed to the machine. That's it, basically, while they profit in their pockets and make you poorer and more miserable, and limit your freedoms. So unless people actually start waking up and not take part in these games, the political games, and divide, then the government will actually fear the people for real. Like, I am sure everybody's aware that that was a psyop and a false flag, what happened at the Capitol.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. Like, I have a feeling that Trump, it was aware
Oh
of
yeah.
the whole thing, because the whole time he's telling people, I'll see you at the Capitol, I'll see you at the Capitol. Why would you do that when you don't even stand up for them afterwards? You actually condemned them. There was only 100 that walked in unarmed, and these people freaked out. They freak out because they know they are doing something wrong, that people are actually angry at them. Whether there was infiltration or not, it's not the point. There was Trump supporters that actually walked in there. They were taking photos and whatever. But and the way it was exploded on the conservatives and Trump supporters, that are all terrorists, that was terrifying. I was really afraid because of the backlash, what's going to happen to us. So are they going to come for conservatives? They are. A lot of people got purged from social media. A lot of people are being doxxed and they're losing their jobs. So it's going to have some ripple effect for, I think, the next 6 months, but then it will die down. What do you think?
Yeah, I think right now they're otherizing, the one side, which is the precursor, throughout history. I don't necessarily think that's what's going to happen right now. I don't think we're going to see any, actual mainstream Holocaust of, troops in the street shooting anybody in the West, because they do the boiling frog approach, right? So right now they're otherizing everybody to stamp down any type of rebellion or disobedience that people might have. That's why they're trying to make everybody domestic terrorists, and we need to use Homeland Security and FEMA and all the other, alphabet agencies against people that are not, in the neoliberal complex of things, right? So they're otherizing people, so that puts people in a state of fear, and then eventually it'll be a state of helplessness, and then people just give up, But yeah, it's just going to go back to normal. It'll be the same, foreign wars, things will be normalized, but they're all going to be heading quicker toward the Great Reset, right? Agenda 21. Really, that's what it's all going to come down to. They're going to keep destroying our businesses. They're going to keep destroying our freedom. And, the purpose behind it all is to do two things. Number one, it's to control everything about each and every one of us, where we go, what we think, what we say, who we associate with, how we associate with people, every little facet of our lives. And then number two, to depopulate. They've been very open about how they need to diminish the population of humans on the planet. And that is what I believe is why we just saw the most dangerous vaccine in human history get rushed out at record speed, that doesn't create immunity, doesn't prevent transmission, and isn't a vaccine at all, but yet they're calling it a vaccine. It is. Right now, what we're seeing the biggest atrocity in human history being taken place in the form of the coronavirus fraud.
Yeah.
And is going to be the biggest actual Holocaust in American history and world history, via their deadly vaccine that they've pushed out. And they know exactly what they're doing.
Oh yeah,
They know
absolutely. I
exactly what's
agree.
going on.
Oh yeah. Did you have a chance to look through the link that I sent you yesterday with the vaccine side effects?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's also I want people to understand that social media is censoring a lot of the people that took the vaccine and having a diverse effects. So these videos are being struck down from all social media platforms. So you have big tech playing a part in this whole thing. It's amazing how they are. But think about it, like why would they do that? Because they are benefiting from it. It is a tracking thing. They're going to be tracking people, and wherever there is a nanotech or not in the vaccine itself, there is nanotech in the swabs, the testing swabs. I don't know if you saw the video of the lady actually taking the fibers off of the swab, and they are moving like little robots trying to attach to each other. It's quite actually scary. So I would advise people not to take the tests if they can.
No, absolutely not. No, no test, no vaccine, no mask, no shutdown, no compliance with any of this.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
the only option. And the people that are going along with it, they're just sleepwalking through life, you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about the nanotech or anything, so I'll entertain any conspiracy theory, right? And I have all my life. Everything from flat earth to alien beings to, whatever, lizard people, I'll entertain it all, right? But I think that right now it's important to stick to what we can objectively prove to the normal people out there, quote unquote normal things. And I'm not saying don't entertain everything else, right? But I think it's important to stick to the things that we can prove to people, right? And that way we don't get associated with Q
Right,
people or
exactly.
the stuff that's on the outer fringes of things. And fine, I'm all about entertaining it all, and I'm sure much of that stuff is true, right? Eventually the majority of the conspiracy theories that come through end up being proven true anyways,
That's
so
true. Yeah.
I'm fine with it. But I think right now it's really important just to stick with the very basic things that we can prove, right? We can
Right.
prove that there's a global conspiracy, right? Very easily, right? Their own words, the Schwab book, the United Nations articles, all of that stuff, right?
Right.
And we can prove that the vaccine doesn't create immunity, doesn't prevent transmission. We can prove that there are thousands of people all over the world that are, getting injured and dying from this.
Right.
And we can also prove that the PCR test by itself is a total fraud and hoax to begin with. So those things,
Right.
I'm trying to stick to those when I'm talking about these things, because my goal in even living right now is to try to get people that are, kind of on the edge of things that are like, this doesn't quite seem right. I want to get those people to start paying attention to what people like you and I are talking about, right?
Right.
That's what I
Exactly.
want. So I'm
Exactly.
laser beam focused on that because
Yeah.
it's objective truth, right?
Right.
It's scientifically proven. There's no, they can try to twist it or gaslight the media or whatever, but it's the truth, right? There's no even debating it really, right? The only way they can debate it is by shutting us down and lying, and that's it, because the evidence is all clear to see. And those are the people that we need to reach. The people that are getting screwed by the government. Those are the people we need to be like, hey, let me check out this video. This lady just got the shot. She's shaking, and you know what I mean. That's what I think we need to do. And then the more people we can wake up, the more people start paying attention, and then they start looking at everything in the bigger picture, right? Then we can be like, look at this Schwab guy. Look at the what's up with this Agenda 21. I mean, what do you think about Bill Gates owning all this farmland? That's how you get people onto the side of the truth. And then they end up being wacky conspiracy theorists like the rest of us.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. It is I think that's part of the whole Q thing, because once the Clinton emails were leaked, there was truth to that. Like the truthers basically when they went through the emails, they saw some things that, they made a connection about the whole thing. But the Q came in and he stole the truth movement. He trashed it basically. There
Oh yeah.
is truth in the emails. Yes, we all seen the emails. Yes. But now, so instead of people taking to the streets and demanding justice and investigations, now they all just sit behind their screens waiting for a drop. So
Yeah.
that killed me. That right then and there, I was like, what just happened? What just happened? Why are people, what is this? Like they completely diverted people's attention for 4 years. And the fact that, that Trump said, oh, you would be in jail if I was a president. And then he didn't. Right then and there, people should have just realized, okay, these people are not enemies. They
No.
are friends behind the scenes.
Yeah, my last few videos have been about Q because when it first happened, I gave it a fair shake, and I realized pretty quickly that it's total nonsense, right? Yeah, Jeff Sessions is gonna lock up the swamp creatures, and then it was Bill Barr. Like, do you guys even know who these people are? Like, Bill Barr is closely connected to Jeffrey Epstein. That's why that whole thing got, brushed under the rug, right? I mean, and Jeff Sessions, that guy's one of the biggest crooks in all of DC, right? And these people, putting faith in the military, right? And I'm not disparaging rank and file people that signed up because they believe that they're defending the country, but the higher ups, they're all part of the machine too. If they weren't, they wouldn't be so wanting to rush into all of these countries that have not harmed anybody and start bombing women and children in mosques all over the Middle East and invading all these African countries and just all the insane horrors that our government and military does. Like, all of a sudden, these are the good guys, and the worst. And the NSA, this is the biggest one, right? The NSA has everything and all of the swamp creatures, and they're gonna use that information to lock everybody up.
Oh yeah.
The good guys in government, the good guys at the NSA that spies on every communication of every human being on the planet. Those are the good guys. I'm sorry, you can't be a good guy and work at the NSA knowing what they do. Hey, can you sign up for this organization that their only job is to spy on every person that has maybe done something wrong, maybe not done something wrong? It's insanity. You cannot be a good human being and work at the NSA. And it just goes against everything that is moral about humanity. Spying on people is immoral and evil. But yeah, I mean, the whole Q thing, it aggravates me because, I stick with what I can, I stick to the truth the best that I can, right? Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong sometimes, and I'll admit that. But the Q people, it became religious, and I got all kinds of death threats. People calling, you're a George Soros shill, and are you collecting those DNC bucks? And even up to like 2 days ago, people saying stupid things like that, right? So, I, I hate being wrong because I would have loved if Trump rolled out the tanks and, okay, we're arresting the Clintons and arresting the Obamas. I would have loved that to happen, right? But come on, we're in reality here. If
Right.
Trump wasn't a deep state shadow government guy, there's a million different things that he could have done differently. But the first thing is he wouldn't have filled his cabinet with a bunch of Zionist bankers, a bunch of war criminals. He would not have just, rolled on the Bush regime, then the Obama regime, and then just rolled it into, his new regime, right? He wouldn't have done that. He would have hired outsiders, good people, patriotic people. That's what he would have done. If I was president, that's what I would do. I'd fill my cabinet with good people, and I would clean house. And he could have done that with no, presidents can assign all kinds of cabinet positions with zero approval, in many cases. And he could have done that, but no, got a bunch of bankers and
Right.
criminals, and it's horrible. And people are still making excuses for the guy. No. And then, like you mentioned, the pardons, that is obscene. They took millions of dollars and traded them for these pardons when, if you really wanted to stick it to the drain, the swamp and everything, obviously releasing Assange would have been the best thing he could have done, because that
Oh
would have
yeah.
pissed them all off and he would have started dropping things, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to get stuck on it, but it's just aggravating to watch all kinds of
Yeah.
well-meaning, good, honest people, patriots and Christians, and just decent working people in this country get taken for a ride by another con artist and by this total scam of the Q movement. And they're crushed today.
Oh yeah.
They're all crushed.
Oh yeah. Big
But
time. I mean, they are devastated. They feel like it was a blow to them, and then so now it's like they're turning. They're going to be turning against each other. Oh, you told me, no, I told you that. So this is like a really critical period where people need to calm down.
mm-hmm.
Do not be lashing out. Do not be acting stupid or thinking, like just sit back, relax, right? Let the cards fall as they may, and then just take a deep breath and concentrate on preparing for what's coming next, because that's what I'm afraid of. Like I have been, I mean, since the whole lockdown thing, I immediately knew it's going to be a push for the vaccine. And so I started in like, I think by mid-March, towards like the 20th of March, is when I managed to get 17 people to come out to Huntington Beach Pier and protest the lockdown. Uh, First weekend, the weekend after, of course, I was called into the police department a couple of times to see why am I protesting? Why am I breaking the quarantine and no gathering laws and the whole nine? And so, but they were not harassing. I mean, I got harassed towards my July event, but my Facebook got taken down. My event page, I mean, like attacks from like, it's like they do not want people to protest basically. And so we're protesting peacefully, and the crowds kept growing larger and larger. Like we started with 17, now till I would say last weekend, there was probably every weekend about 5,000 people that go there. So that was a good movement of like patriotic spirit and the whole nine. But now I fear that, okay, well, now that Trump is gone, people are going to lose track of why are we actually protesting. We need to protest the lockdowns. This is ridiculous. Like I am about to lose my business for the second time, same as my husband. If we can't generate income, we're going to be homeless. What are we going to do? And people think that $600 or even $2,000 from the government is going to save them. They're not. We're heading for disaster, a huge disaster. And I don't know how long I can survive. And I'm a business owner, right? So I am terrified from thinking like, okay, I don't think schools are going to reopen, not in California. I don't think the lockdowns are going to be eased up. Actually, now with this new strain propaganda they're pumping, they're going to extend lockdowns. They want to make sure everybody is broke.
Yeah, no, they do. Yeah, I mean, it's a consolidation of power, right? They want, people like you and I to go out of business so that then, the Bezoses and the Gates and the, the Zuckerbergs and all these billionaires, they can, take their investment vehicles, which, some of them you can recognize, others they're, a little 10 steps away from, but they're going to be buying everything up. And that's what this is. We're seeing, people, talking about, oh, Trump is fascist, this and that, right? They've been talking about that for the last 4 years. I mean, our system is already a fascist hybrid system, right? Where you cannot discern government versus the private sector at all at this point, right? It's just a big revolving door. People take a government position, then they move back into the pharmaceutical industry. They take a government position, then they move right back into big tech. They're really indiscernible. And the people that control the levers of power, if they can't get it done in government, well, then they go to the private sector and have them do it there. And then they have other civil society organizations. One of the most notable, obviously, is like George Soros, right? He's got his Open Societies Foundation. So you have foundations like that. Then you have the different groups like the CDC, World Health Organization, groups like that that they're part of the government, but they're not really part of the government. Like the World Health Organization, they're not part of the government, but they're a subset of the United Nations. But then they also have their nonprofits attached to it, right? So many people don't know the CDC is a government entity, but then they have a separate entity, and it's the CDC Foundation. And that's how Bill Gates and other billionaires are able to funnel cash into the CDC so that they control and own it. That's what people don't understand, is that the government, it's not like it's not the head of the CDC isn't calling the shots, right? The head of the FDA is not calling the shots. It's the people behind the scenes that are funneling the money around. And it, and it's all traced back to the same people every time. And, at least on the forefront, there's people behind the scenes that we don't get to see, but, the Bill Gates and the billionaire class, and they all happen to invest everything together. They, like the Clinton Foundation, they donate a bunch of money to the Gates Foundation. Gates Foundation pushes money into the Clinton Global Health Initiative. And then it's just a big circular money laundering scheme that they all have.
Right.
None of them pay any taxes, but then they get paraded around in the media as philanthropists, right? Bill Gates is a philanthropist. He's got more money now than he ever has in his entire life, but yet he's a philanthropist. He's giving away all of his money. And why does the media report on it? Well, because Bill Gates gives millions, maybe billions of dollars to the media organizations directly. Just gives them money. Here you go. And then they have a big media summit. Not sure if you know about this one. Every year, Bill Gates, the Gates Foundation, they hold a big media summit where all the mainstream media, they fly them all out, put them up in lavish hotels, and then they go over what the agenda for the Gates Foundation is. That's why you never see anybody criticizing Bill Gates and what they've done in the media. It's all bought and paid for. And Sorry, I kind of went off the kilter,
Oh,
but
yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I actually wrote an op-ed for Orange County Register. I'm sure they're not going to be printing it, but
mm,
it is starts with the title, "Why is our mainstream media giving Bill Gates a platform to speak as if he's, a specialist in infectious diseases and the whole nine?" So, and basically I show like the history of Bill Gates, his philanthropy, and his actually it's not more than just being involved in a bunch of like dubious very controversial projects or endeavors, like solar geoengineering, which is aka chemtrails, and then you have him talking about GMOs and pushing them on countries that do not want them. There is a physicist from India, her name is Dr. Vandana Shiva, a very smart woman, and she was in an interview on RT, and she all of a sudden started talking about Bill Gates and how he is robbing the farmers over there from natural seeds and pushing GMOs on them.
yeah.
Also, the problems with vaccines with him around the world. He is causing so much problems for children and women all over the world. He's trying to sterilize them basically, and like make him give the children, once you become disabled, whether mentally or physically, these people cannot procreate anymore. So
Hmm.
that's another thing I want people to understand, that there is a very nefarious agenda behind vaccines. Like as for me, my son, when he was about 9 months old, I took him to the pediatrician, and she gave him 6 vaccines in one day, 3 in each thigh. My son cried for 3 days straight. His thighs were so hard and swollen, and he just cried and cried. I didn't know what to do, and at the time, I didn't think about it, and like it would be like that. But oh my God, I can't believe I allowed that to happen. I regret it so much, and I hope moms everywhere understand that the vaccine schedule is not like before. I'm not an anti-vaxxer for by any means, but I mean, like 6 shots in one day. What happened? The kids are not getting like sick like before, right? We live in more clean environment. People are good hygiene in general, so diseases don't just like appear everywhere. So people need to like take a step back and say, okay, why are you pushing 6 shots at my infant, in one day? So people have to like really uh, 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 look at the medical community and very critically everything, because these people obviously seem to be all for profit, especially what's happening with the COVID patients in hospitals, being accepting like, okay, so if you say you have a COVID patient that's 10,000 or whatever, if you put him on a ventilator, it's 30,000. All of a sudden, they're demanding more ventilators, all of it. So it's always who, I always ask, who's profiting from this? Que bono.
Who's profiting not just financially, but in power and control?
Mm, obviously,
How
yeah, yeah.
how's your kid now? I mean,
Oh,
is
thank
there
God.
anything
I
permanent?
mean, knock on wood, thank God he was not damaged from it. But I refused to do that with my daughter. So I
What
even,
happened with did you
I did,
get
I did
vaccinated?
not. Yeah, I did not.
Oh, thank God.
I
Yeah,
said,
I'm an
you
anti-vaxxer all the
know,
way. I think, I'm all the way an anti-vaxxer. And not only am I an anti-vaxxer, there's no other subject that I'm more confident about than being against vaccines.
yeah,
I've never researched anything in my professional personal life than I have vaccines. So I can tell anybody, and I'll debate anybody. I'll debate doctors, scientists, I don't care who they are. I will debate anybody and I will win. Vaccines, they're dangerous, they are ineffective, and it's the biggest lie in medical history that's ever been perpetrated on humanity. I have my son. He's 3.5 now. Um, I absolutely, you know, no vaccines. I had and doing that. You probably remember. It's a fight. It's a fight. You go see a doctor. They're doing everything they can to try to coerce you. They try to scare you. And my wife and I, we had a deal where I wasn't going to say anything, and she was just going to say, "Oh no, we'll consider it later," and just kind of blow off the shots every time we went. And it's our only son. And eventually we finally came to terms with it. And we're like, are we only here to get shots? Is that what we're doing here, is to get shots? Like, what are we even coming here for? They're not doing anything other than trying to sell us a vaccine.
yeah,
And so finally, the doctor was like, you could tell she had determination in her eyes, right? This pediatrician, she had determination. So finally, she was trying to corner me to get me to talk about why, because I think she felt that I was the one making the decision behind the scenes, when it was a joint decision, right? And so she says to me, she says, can you tell me exactly why you guys aren't vaccinating your son? I said, yeah, because because they're ineffective, they're not safe. People get damaged from them all the time, and I really am not scared of my son getting the measles or chicken pox, and
That's true.
and I said, and I said, there's been over $4 billion paid out to vaccine injured people in this country alone. And she looks at me and goes, that's not true. I'm like, excuse me, that's not true. I'm like, it's absolutely 100%. It is true. He says, no, no, that is not true. Vaccines are 100% safe and 100% effective. That's what she told me. And I said, excuse me? I'm like, I'm just going to need you to repeat that. Did you just say that vaccines are 100% safe and 100% effective? He says, yes, absolutely. I said, listen, I said, look, I'm not going to keep arguing with it about you, but you should really look into it, because it sounds like you aren't even able to recognize if somebody is vaccine injured that comes through your practice here. So you need to look into VAERS, and you need to look into the vaccine court, and you need to understand what you are trying to sell your clients. So then we never went back after that, right? Switched over to a naturopath, and they called on his 3rd birthday and said that he was due for his 2-year shots. I'm like, these people, they don't care. You're just a number, it's just they want to shoot your kid up with their poison. And, I don't necessarily blame the doctors, but on the other hand, I do blame them, because they should know what they're prescribing instead of just taking some marketing, pharmaceutical sales rep's word for it. They should know what they're telling people to take, and so, yeah, I hold animosity for most doctors in this country, because they are, basically just products of the system, and they're not helping anybody. We're in the worst health outcomes in modern history, and, the autism epidemic, and kids with all kinds of disease and autoimmune issues and everything. And yet we're supposed to carry doctors around on our shoulders, and the heroes, they're killing people in the name of COVID. And we're supposed to worship them. Oh, wonderful healthcare workers, while they're all working, and the rest of us are all locked up, and we're supposed to worship them. It's just disturbing. So, long rant over. The bottom line is, I'm 100% an anti-vaxxer, proud of it. Everybody in my immediate circle knows it. I will discuss it with anybody proudly, and I'll warn anybody that I know that has kids. And I think everybody should, because it's. If you look at the science, not just and they always go, oh, did you just read that on a Facebook post? Like, no, dumbass, I've read hundreds of studies. I've read hundreds of studies, literally. I've spent all kinds of effort and time, because I wanted to make sure that if I was going to put something into my son's body or not put something into my son's body, I was going to make damn well sure that I was confident in my decision. And I'm 100% confident in it. And I would never change it for anything. And nobody is going to get near me or my family with their COVID shot or their flu shot or any of it, because it's dangerous, as we can clearly see at this point.
Oh yeah, I mean, I told my husband, this is the hell I'm going to be dying on, is if they get near me with the COVID vaccine. I would refuse. Not for, and I actually, at my family, they all live in Jordan. And so I know I'm coming to terms that most likely I'm never going to see them again, because I refuse to take the shot. And the talks now, the whole thing, I've been noticing on the media that they want, okay, so airlines are going to demand that you show your COVID passport in order to go on the plane. Today, they're actually, if I wanted to go see them, I have to bring my proof that I was tested and my test came out negative. Otherwise, every stop I stop, they're going to quarantine me for 14 days. So imagine my trip, instead of taking 21 hours, is going to take me probably a month just to get there, and then another month on the way back. So it is just going to be a horror show. So, and I'm not willing to risk it, right? Force test me, and then, oh, look at that. We already know the tests are, flawed completely. They're not even supposed to be used for this. And so, oh, you tested positive, lockdown, go lock her up in jail. So now we're all going to be prisoners, obviously, over some fake testing and fake results. manipulated, and it's a horror show. And so for me to put myself in that, risk it my family too. Oh, look at the tracing, because in Jordan they are tracing everybody.
Yeah.
So even in, like you would say, in the Middle East and in Africa, I think North African countries, mostly South Africa, Australia, all of these kind of Europe, they're tracing people like crazy. So once you get out of the airplane in Jordan, they put a bracelet on you,
Mm-hmm.
and you cannot leave it. At first, people were leaving it in the hotel and leaving, right? So now it's like the ankle bracelet where like they put on prisoners when they lock you out at home. And the lockdown was martial law lockdown. The army was deployed on the first day they announced lockdown. And I would send videos of people trying to take out the trash, and they're being caught and beaten up in the streets. Now the fine, so now there's curfews that starts at 10 p.m. The fine is $1,000. That's a salary for 3 months for most people in Jordan.
Yeah.
So people are afraid to even leave. It's just a horror show over there. And my family is they're like really, really in a bad situation. And they're afraid. They're afraid of, because of the fear pumping over there is not even, it's just as much, if not more. Early on, I think around probably I would say June or July, my brother sent me this video of a journalist, a Jordanian journalist, and he was talking like this. I swear to God, it was taken down before I even published it on YouTube. It was taken. I was just trying, I uploaded it on Amara. It's a subtitling platform. I'm trying to translate whatever he says in English. And so I did not use the word COVID or coronavirus or nothing. He didn't even say those words because he knows he's being censored. I think the video was posted up on Facebook. And he's saying this. He's saying a country like Jordan, where it depends on its income from foreign banks, from, hands out from other countries. We don't have natural resources. The most income is from tourism, and tourism is shut down right now. So when you get a phone call and they tell you you need to shut your country down, lock people up in their homes, and follow the protocol, you can't say no to them.
Yeah.
You have to follow. And then he says, how come everybody that tries to come and speak about the vaccine or the coronavirus, they get killed? In the beginning, there was a Chinese, I think, and then there was a German, and then there was a Russian, and then there was the American, and they blamed it on like a love triangle with his girlfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
So like it's like leaving a trail of like dead people, right? And then so that's basically what he's saying. He's trying to like raise suspicion, like, people, do you know, like this sounds really fishy. And it's a short video, and I got a strike, and my channel was I couldn't upload for it like a month. So and he didn't say anything, right? But look at how stringent the censorship is from around the world. So that tells you there's something fishy. Like, come on, since when do we not discuss or negotiate, or you bring in a panel of different doctors from point of view, you sit down and let them negotiate what's the best method? No, we were just given this. Oh, here's the problem and here's the solution. If you go to a doctor and they say, oh, hey, we gotta amputate your leg, do you just go, okay, go ahead? Or you say, no, wait, I need a second and third opinions, right? I'm not allowed to have a second opinion now? You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
The ministry of truth.
Oh my God. What is this nightmare? Right? So, I mean, so people for the ability not to question, like, why are we not being, given a second opinion? Why are we just being given this or this Fauci to talk about it? How come? What about the rest of the maybe 20 million doctors that we have that have different opinions? But so that by itself is just so scary to me. People are unable to critically think.
Mm-hmm.
And that's majority of people. People that are awake are like a minority scattered around the world. And I'm having a hard time waking people up. So, and I don't know what to do at this point, honestly. Like I feel like my hands are tied, especially now that I'm off of all of social media. I was kicked out of everything. Like I'm banned from ever, unless I get a VPN, I guess. I can't open any Twitter or Facebook. I only have my YouTube channel left, which is, thank God, I'm like holding on with my last threads, obviously. But, I'm trying to think of ways I can be reaching people which is like now I was like going back to school, I guess. I gotta print out flyers and leave them on cards. I gotta maybe take my projector to the park and play for people. So, I'm contemplating different methods now.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna have to get off of big tech anyways, my first YouTube channel was banned. I had it for years and years and years. So that one was banned, no warning. I had my videos taken down or whatever, so I can't really say no warning. I knew it was gonna happen, but you know, I don't know, 6 years or something. I had the channel, 6 years of work, all just flushed. Um, so I don't know. I'm on all kinds of other alt platforms, and everybody's having to go there now. So it's time for everybody to start migrating over. There's all kinds of alternatives. I'm on like I don't know 7 different video platforms now, and those video platforms are getting more views than I was on my YouTube channel because I've been shadow banned on my YouTube for a long time. So there's always going to be ways to communicate, but what you're saying about like the projector in the park, I mean that's what we have to do. We have to start reaching people personally, and
Right.
that's the first step. I think getting our close sphere of influence. Everybody has to be. They all have to be on board, and we have to get them riled up enough and fired up enough to them start spreading the word, and that's what's going to have to happen. And the part about the Jordanian military, locking people down, we have to get to the point where the majority of people are awake so that there's nobody that's willing to take that gun and point it at the citizens. That's where we need to be
Uh-huh.
because we have the power. It's the people do have the power, but if we're going along with the system, well, we're just shooting each other. We're shooting ourselves while these people are living without any restrictions, living the life of luxury, off of our backs, and people still
Yeah.
worship them, and that's what we got to do. Nobody should ever join the military. Nobody should ever join law enforcement. Nobody should take part in any of it because it's subjugating humanity all over the world. It's yeah, it's an uphill battle.
You're right. I agree with you, especially when it came to the police and the whole conservatives with backing the blue and the whole nine. I actually, um, uh, like I told you earlier, I was questioned. The Huntington Beach Police Department, they called me to the station and want to interrogate me. Why am I trying to do the whole nine? So I had like their cell phone numbers. They were contacting me. Oh, just let me know when are you going to be holding the next event, the whole nine. So they were kind of like, okay, not aggressive with me until they got a new chief. And all of a sudden, and that's not too long ago, so throughout the last year, I think it was maybe 2 weeks before Christmas, we went to Huntington Beach as a curfew breaker event where
I
at
remember that.
10, everybody would just go there. And so I got in the first weekend, there was nobody there. There's 2 officers. There's thousands of people and 2 officers. The weekend after that, once I pulled up to the parking lot and I looked around, I was like, why is there so many cops? And they were all masked up for the first time. They were masked up in a uniformed mask. So
Yeah.
I approached one officer and I told him, what's going on? Why you guys are all masked up? And then he tells me, oh, for your protection and ours. I looked at him with like my eyebrow brows. I was like, what? What did you just say?
Protection and
What?
what?
What? And I was like, since when? He's like, oh, no, it's just, to protect us, ourselves and from, the COVID. And I was like, did you guys get like a new chief or something? He looked at me like that and he's like, we got a new chief. I immediately knew. See, officers, whether they're good or bad, whether you think they're corrupt or they're decent people, they follow orders.
Yeah.
They are there not to serve the people. They are there to protect and serve the politicians, the people in
Yeah.
power. I mean, look at what they did. They deployed the army to protect the politicians from patriots. When
Yeah.
this is the house for the people, right? No, it is not for the people. This is the house for them. It's where they go to plan how they're going to pull your rights away and steal your income and the whole nine. So even like I know the sheriffs, maybe they have more let's say they answer more to the people, but at the end of the day, if they want to keep feeding their family and they're going to have to follow orders as well, just like soldiers do. So like I agree with you on that. Just stay away from these tyrannical government branches, basically, because if anything, if the government hammer is going to fall down on us, who's going to be doing it? It's going to be the police.
Police,
So
military,
yeah.
National Guard.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The military, they put out the military and the intelligence agencies, they spend uh, ridiculous amounts of money on propaganda. Like the for football, the NFL, all of that patriotic stuff that you see before every game and all of that stuff that they do, that's all funded by the United States military. So
Yeah.
that's why you see so many, kind of mainstream conservatives that are like, yeah, support our troops and back the blue and all that. That's programming from the government. That's why they're like that at all. And nobody really thinks about that because I mean, honestly, the police, their job constitutionally is to protect the people and to enforce the law, right? Not prevent crime, not any of the other stuff that they do, not surveil, not spy. It's to enforce the law. So when a law is broken, that's when the cops are supposed to be involved. And that's it. Everything else is unconstitutional and illegal. So enforcing lockdowns on people and all that, totally unconstitutional and illegal. And any law enforcement officer, military that's going along with that, they're breaking constitutional rights and they're breaking human rights. Everything that they're doing to us is a crime against humanity. And the people that have badges and authority, they're complicit. And I'm not, I don't promote violence or whatever, but the thing is, they're going to keep pushing, and eventually, that's what's going to happen. People that what's the saying? The saying is that there's nothing more dangerous than a man that has nothing left to lose.
Oh yeah.
That's where they are pushing people, and they probably want it. You know what I mean? They probably could take joy in that. But these police officers, they have support from the so-called right, and all the left people hate them or whatever, right? But now they're pushing against the people on the right, and now they're gonna see that they're pretty soon not gonna have any friends. And even the politicians that make them do this stuff, anytime they're in a police brutality thing, they don't even get backed up by the politicians. So
No, they don't.
any wise, intelligent, smart police officer should be able to see all of this and realize that if they don't change their ways, they're going to have no friends left, because the only friends that they do have are some mainstream conservatives. But more and more people are like, hey, you know what? Screw these guys. And they'll be the first targets when things start going down, because obviously they're the ones protecting the politicians. So I pray that it doesn't happen. I think things can be done peacefully with legal civil disobedience, but they're pushing. They're the ones that are pushing. And man, I wish the United States would wake up, because all over the world right now as we speak, there are people rioting in the streets against the lockdowns, against the vaccines. And here we are, people, mask up, dummy. Why aren't you wearing a mask? It's just sad. We've lost that fire for freedom and patriotism and liberty and all those things that got us to this point. Everybody's just pushing that aside. Oh, wear a mask. It's a pandemic. Like, it's disgusting.
And like I've this whole thing of people also trying to seize like or presume power over you, like the person that's behind the counter all of a sudden is like ordering you around and want to kick you out of the store, even though he doesn't own the store, he or she. They try to like presume this power on you, and until today I have not worn a mask. And I'm talking about going on the airplane to Arizona. I flew on Southwest. Everybody in Phoenix Harbor airport was masked up everywhere. I did not.
Yeah.
My husband and my children, they did. I did not. I refused. And
Good.
so, and yesterday I went to Albertsons to grab some dog food. And right when I walked in, there was like really late. It was like 9:30 p.m. And the guy behind the counter, oh, you can't come in here without a mask. And I said, I can. And I just did. And I walked away, grabbed the stuff. I came back to the checkout counter and he's like, I'm not going to check you out. And I said, I told him I have a medical exemption. Sorry, I cannot risk my life getting a, adverse effect to please you. You're already wearing a mask. What are you worried about? If you believe they work, you're protected, right? So just either open a self-checkout or ring me up. And he's like, he refused. So I walked away. And then the next morning I called in, I spoke with the manager and I told him, your employee did this to me. He disrespected me in front of everybody, and I'm not willing to risk my health for his pleasure. He's already wearing a mask. What is he worried about if he believes they work, right? Why are you trying? Let me worry about my own health. I don't mind getting the COVID, okay? Don't worry about me. I'm not even going to go to the hospital to overwhelm them, basically. he does not have the right to refuse service for me because I did not do anything wrong to him. He's already protected. He's wearing a mask. So he kind of like was, oh, no, 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 no. It's just we changed the rules. We're trying to be mindful of people's. I was like, you're already wearing a mask. You believe it works. Why are you worried about my health? Don't worry about my health. Let me worry about my health. And so I told him I am filing a complaint and I want to come to the store. I've been coming here for 17 years now. And this is the first time I get mistreated in your store. And if you're going to be, biased against me like that, I'm going to come after you and sue you. And let me tell you, he's like, I will make sure all the employees know that you can come and go as you please. You just got to put your foot down.
Yeah.
You cannot let a 15-year-old or a 17 or 18-year-old behind a coffee shop counter talk to you like you're a child.
Yeah.
Right? Just because she's trying to presume power over you. So once people really just put their foot down and stand up for it, and I think you can like maybe put more courage into people, into like, okay, hey, fight it. Just don't just say I wanna, I just want to get them. I just want to grab my stuff and leave. That's the problem. That's what happened to in Nazi Germany. Everybody just wanted to get by and just whatever, leave me alone, do whatever you want, and then ended up with massacring millions of people. People also keep saying, oh, that will never happen in America. Don't worry about it. Oh, really? Look where we are today.
Yeah. It's looking a lot closer to Nazi Germany or communist Russia at this point. Yeah, but you're right though. I mean, I wore a mask once for 13 seconds.
Yeah, I saw that.
I had
Yeah.
to go into a doctor's office to pick up a test result for my son, and I felt like I'd betrayed everything I believed in. I felt I was ashamed. I was humiliated. I was, and I literally walked in, grabbed a paper, and walked out. That's how long I wore it. And I was so ashamed. I'm like, you know what? Even if I have to go to the doctor's office for whatever reason, I'm not going to do it. But that was the only time that I did, and I was embarrassed. But otherwise, I haven't. And I've had. I mean, I'm in Arizona though, so it's a little bit different here. It's not quite as wackadoodle as California.
I agree.
But
my God, yes.
But yeah, I haven't worn it at all. Nobody's really said anything, but I think it's a confidence thing, right? If you walk in, you're confident, you hold your head up higher, not looking around like, oh, is somebody gonna say something? If you're confident, you act like you own the place and you're not doing anything wrong, which you're not doing anything wrong, people aren't gonna mess with you that much. But if you are confronted, something short, oh no, thank you, or oh, I'm exempt, and then just walk on. You know what I mean? Yeah. Most people don't want confrontations. And it's funny that you mentioned that the whole you're wearing a mask. What's your problem? You're protected, right? The funny thing about that is it's doublethink, right? Yeah. They believe that them wearing a mask only protects other people, right?
Yeah.
But it only works one way. It's like the vaccines, right? Like, oh, your kid's vaccinated. What do you care about my kid? Oh, well, they don't have an answer for it. Well, you got to protect the immunocompromised. Well, they're at home anyways, dumb. They're not at school immunocompromised. So it's the same thing. Yeah, people need to refuse the mask. Period.
Yeah.
And even in my line of work, I meet all kinds of different people. I haven't had anybody request that I put the mask on yet. And I meet people at their homes oftentimes or at my office, and I haven't had anybody request me to put it on. And actually, I had a client of mine. I went to go meet her at the house, and she answered the door and had a mask on. And just to be polite, I was, oh, dude, I'm sorry, dude, did you want me to put on a mask? And it's like, well, I mean, I don't care if you don't care. I'm like, well, I'm not going to wear a mask. So then I just walked in. She's like, oh, thank God she took it off. And was like, you know what I mean? So
yes, exactly.
I think more people that we see out there are against it than we think.
Yeah.
And I think you can mention them because you see the people that have their nose sticking out. If they were really scared, their nose wouldn't be sticking out of that mask. So I think those people, we should approach them and say, hey, your nose is sticking out, and they'll probably go like this, go, no. If your nose is sticking out, why are you wearing a mask? I mean, take it off. That's what I'm going to start doing.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with you. I am actually, same thing with my customers. I own a auto repair shop. And so, we're in an open garage, obviously, but when people walk in with masks, and then sometimes my mechanics tell me, the clients tell them, why are you not wearing a mask? And then I told them what to say. I said, I'm a young, healthy man. I do not need to wear a mask. I am not ill. If I was ill, I would be home. Don't worry. And so they kind of like backed down, right? And
Yeah.
then to the point where I had this one lady, she was wearing goggles, two masks, and a face shield. She was afraid to approach me on the counter to pay her invoice. And so she's standing like 6 feet away. And I was like, are you okay? You ready? And then she like took 2 steps and she's like, why are you not wearing a mask? I was like, because I am not sick. I am very healthy. And you are obviously protected with all these layers of protection. So you shouldn't be worried about it. And so, and I took the credit card and I'm charging it. And then I looked up and I saw her, she's wearing a cross. And then I was like, okay, it's my chance to, say something. And I said, as Christians, we believe God is in control and you shouldn't worry, right? Whatever God's will be done, whether it is in our life, in our death. So you're a person of faith, it seems, and you should not be afraid of a virus or even getting a virus. You just should rely on God, right? That's our faith teaches. She grabbed her credit card like snap and she just ran. I was like, I'm never seeing her again. But
Oh yeah.
I gave her something to think about.
Yeah.
So, and that's my philosophy. I tell all my clients, hey, you don't have to wear a mask here. This is the land of the free, home of the brave in my station. So so now, you don't have to wear a mask. And they all come in, walk in, they come in with their masks and they take it off inside my shop.
Good.
So, like it's weird how people are really having a hard time critically think. I don't know what it is, if the fluoride in the water, the chemtrails, I don't know what it is, but what happened to people in critical thinking?
It's all of it. I mean, as much as people are aware of the fake news and everything, they fall into it. Most people don't realize how the science works, right? They don't understand that the data is manipulated. They don't understand that the scientists that do these various studies are bought and paid for by the people that are trying to produce the product that they're doing a study for. They don't understand it. They don't understand that doctor, or what's his name, Gupta or whatever on CNN, they don't understand that guy hasn't practiced medicine in numerous years, isn't really a doctor anymore. He's just a political talking head. And so when they see people on TV wearing a lab coat, they think that, oh, these people are just really smart, know what they're talking about. When the reality is, these people are liars, criminals, and what they're doing is perpetrating a crime against humanity. And I'm against the death penalty personally, but I think that when people are perpetrating in something that is a Holocaust, which is what we're living through right now,
Yeah.
I think it might be acceptable. The people that are pushing it, knowingly pushing it, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that aren't knowingly pushing it, but the ones that are, like Dr. Fauci, he full well knows that the PCR test is a fraud. He knows exactly what he's doing, right? That guy, in my opinion, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I know it's a little bit brutal, but I mean, they're going to be killing millions of people right now as we speak. Just like you were talking about in Jordan, the $1,000 is 3 months salary.
Yeah.
There are people in the poorest countries in this world right now that are starving. There are children dying and starving right now as we speak because of the coronavirus scam. But here in the West, isn't it funny how the people that are like, hey, mask up and we need more lockdowns, that they just happen to be the privileged people, right? The privileged people. But then they'll tell everybody else like, oh, you're just privileged, right? They'll tell us that we're privileged while they're telling everybody to lock down when, that guy that works at the store that he can't work at anymore, one paycheck missed and he's getting evicted. You know what I mean? Like, they don't understand that because these people, they're in professions where, they get to work at home and work over Zoom. Well, not everybody gets to do that. It's just disgusting how little sympathy, empathy, or care that they have for the working poor, which is the majority of people in the country, unfortunately. They just don't care. They don't care about poor people. They don't care about all the people all over the world that are literally starving and dying. I mean, even their own reports are stating that somewhere near 20 million people are going to die, not from coronavirus, but from government lockdowns, right? And here we are, having these people, oh, wear a mask. We need to lock down everything more. If we would have locked down for 6 months hard, we wouldn't be in this mess. No, we were going to be in this mess because they planned it all along, right? The Event 201, They showed us exactly what they were going to do. That was, I think, what, a month and a half before they started rolling this out. They knew exactly what they were doing. They told us they were doing it. And then anybody goes, hey, do you remember that event 201? They go, well, you're crazy for even thinking that they could possibly perpetrate this, right? When, it's very clear that this was all planned and orchestrated. And I think that the way that every government in the entire world all reacted the same exact way shows that there is a coordinated top-down control system pulling the strings from behind the scenes, right? I mean, there's no way that you could coordinate this many people. I think it was the government, one of the like the president of Bahrain or something that said that
um, it was, I think, somebody from Africa, I think.
Somewhere in Africa.
He questioned the whole, he took, right when he got the shots, I mean, the tests, he was like testing them on fruit and vegetables and car oil on the wall. And he was making fun that, oh, the papaya fruit is positive for corona. The car oil, the sheep, so should I quarantine the sheep? Or for the so what is this? It's a short clip, but yes, a lot of people did. Same in Austria, I saw a representative dipping the swab in the Coca-Cola and saying, look at that, Coca-Cola is positive for corona. So I mean, yeah, there is like a trickling more, but I think it's the Bulgarian president. He said that he received, I have to leave a link for that video. I am not sure I'm mentioning the correct country, but he said, I got a phone call from the World Bank. They told me that I need to get, in order to get the funds, the help, I need to lock my country down and tell people not to go to work. I'm not going to do that. I do not need your money. What is it going to take for a president to actually take this step? He's a hero in my eyes. Whether it's going to be like he's going to put his country through a struggle financially because he's not going to get the assistance, well, I would rather have them try to work harder and figure something else, to come up with, just keeping the economy going internally, not having to borrow money from the World Bank, and they're, going to have to, bow down and obey. So, I mean, it is a scary situation because the power is centralized, and but people need to start breaking away from this power. There is no way we're going to survive this whole agenda they have for us if we don't, stand, firm on what we believe and what we're going to do. And I do believe it's going to start locally. So if you get kicked off of social media, I do not want people to feel discouraged. No, you cannot talking to people across the United States is not going to benefit you. What you need to do is work locally. You need to talk to your neighborhood, your neighbors, wake up your neighbors, because if they, let's say, eventually send the military down to the vaccine and say, hey, all the neighbors are going to be aware, we're going to hold security, we're going to be watching out. One of us, like, we're going to protect each other. We're not going to rat each other out. Oh, I just saw her not wearing a mask, or he went to work today. No. We need to wake people up locally in your surrounding area, in your city. And that's what is going to be, that's my mission, obviously, is we're doing a good job in Huntington Beach, but like in my city, Westminster, also, a lot of people are patriots, patriotic spirits. They are Vietnamese people majority here in Westminster, and they understand communism. They ran away from communism. And they hate anything that's gonna, trickling down with, like, starting with socialistic ideology from politicians. So they are very aware, and they were they are pro-Trump because they know what the left represents. So when they were gathering and everything, none of them wore a mask. They all understand. So it's weird how immigrants that came to the country see what's really happening, while Americans are like blinded to it. Even people around the world, they were telling me, you guys, like, this is so obvious what's happening in America. We're watching you guys and we know what's happening. You guys, are people aware of what's happening? And I say, yeah, I guess majority. I mean, the rest think it's just whatever. We're just sore losers. No, we know this election was stolen, obviously. We know it was probably never not stolen or framed that way, but it's just, it doesn't matter. This whole one new world order, one global. It's happening. Whether whoever you vote in, it's not going to matter. So the best thing is to strengthen your own center, like your own community.
Yeah.
Just teach them how to prepare. I started to prepare right away when I heard lockdown. I was like, did they just lock down the whole globe? Can you imagine the amount of power that you have to have in order to lock the whole globe down in like in a flick of a switch? I was like, that's scary. They did it once, they can do it whenever they want.
Yeah, I mean they've done it multiple times, but you're right. I mean it has to be local, you know, and it has to start with your immediate family and friends, and then it has to spread out from there, you know. And you know, I think what happened here in the United States is life has been so good for so long for the majority of people. Like even our homeless people walk around on iPhones, right? They eat 3, 4 meals a day. They get all the beer they can drink from, you know, handouts and whatnot, right? So I mean, even our homeless, which the majority of them there are there, you know, by choice for the most part, you know, even they have wonderful lives compared to people all over the rest of the world. And I think it created apathy, right? It allowed the New World Order agenda to infiltrate everything, right? It infiltrated all of our schools, universities, the media, everything, and it's brainwashed people into just being autonomous robots there at this point, you know, and that's the problem. Things have been so good for so long that they just go along with whatever is told to them, and that's why also people create all of these fake problems, right? All
Yeah.
of these, they're always looking for a problem, like the BLM stuff, or trying to find a racist under every rock, right? Just all these fictitious problems, right? I mean, it's insanity, you know, trying to figure out who's oppressed, who's oppressed over here, you know, when it's all completely fictionalized, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's every once in a while there's a jerk, right? There's an asshole every once in a while, right? But I mean, the vast majority of people don't care about any of that stuff, right?
No.
Nobody cares what race or creed or religion. Nobody really cares about that stuff, right? Everybody just wants to, you know, be able to buy their iPhone and watch their stupid stuff on TV and, you know, be left alone for the most part. But no, it's all local. And yeah, got to prepare. You gotta have water, food, guns, and then I think, you know, gold, Bitcoin, things like that as a hedge against the coming inflation. You know, real estate always is good. You know, those are the things that people need to focus on because at any time they can cut our entire food chain because the same people that are able to lock down the entire world with a snap of a finger, they can do that to our food supply here. And that's why, and I try to tell people this, right? People are like, well, we just need to get the government to give us health care. We need to get the government to, you know, they could at least just give us college, right? No, here's the thing. When you centralize all power into the hands of a few, they can take it away from you in a heartbeat. And that's what we've done with our food chain here, right? That you've got a small handful of huge mega corporations control all of the food in this country, right? Big, huge feedlots for our cattle and our pig and everything else, right? And all the wheat and soy and everything else that they make. It's just a few small handful of companies that, oh, by the way, Bill Gates and Elon Musk and the Zuckerbergs and you know all those different people are all invested in, right? So if they decide that, hey, you know what, we need to starve a few million people out to reduce the population, they could do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
And they've already been pre-programming it for us too, right? Remember when they were talking about the Tyson food plants. They
Oh
might have
yeah.
found COVID on the chicken,
Yeah.
and oh, there's going to be meat shortages. And remember when everything first started happening, you go to the grocery store, there'd be no meat there, right? They can
Right.
do it like that, and they can starve everybody. So if you don't have at least 6 months, I would say more, but at least 6 months worth of food stored in your house, your family could starve.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
you'll be one of the first ones to go.
Yeah.
And if you don't have, you know, water, obviously that's super important. And then if you don't have a way to defend yourself, well, guess what? That guy that has a gun but no food is coming to your house, and then they'll have a gun and some food. So people
Exactly.
need to wake up and start. And I'm not trying to doom and gloom because I'm still hopeful for humanity, but people need to prepare for the worst, you know, because
Yeah.
we've seen that they will stop at nothing to subjugate each one of us, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. It's time now. Now that we passed this hump with the President Trump, now we need to focus on our families. They are coming full throttle with this agenda. They are not backing down. They have not slowed. They have not stopped. And they're going to keep pushing. Look at how they're treating people in the streets in Canada and Australia, even here in America. They tackled a veteran. The police tackled a veteran, and he was a disabled veteran on top of it. Think they care? They don't care about people. So that's why I always tell people, like, why do you think the government cares for you? If they cared for people, they would actually secure the border, not let drugs in. They should ban cigarettes and alcohol, but they really don't care about your health. So why would you think now they care over the COVID? What happened to everything else? What about the addicted people? Instead of throwing them in jails, why don't you just invest some money instead of sending it, let's say, to a country to study gender equality in Pakistan for like $15 trillion? Why don't you just open a facility where you can treat addicts? Why don't you invest in the medical field where you actually can help them get off the opiate addiction that's killing hundreds of thousands every year in the US alone? But they're not, because they don't care about your health. Who are you to so they can care about? They Once you are in positions of power, you become corrupted, and all you want is more and more and more power. And actually, every rock I've turned the last, say, like, let's say, year, Bill Gates was under it.
Yeah.
In every section that is like that, until yesterday, I think I saw yesterday or the day before yesterday, where it was trending on Twitter that Bill Gates is now the biggest landowner in the United States. What? What does he need all this land for? Well, obviously because he wants to control the food sources. He's going to control farmers. He's going to control, now he's going to be pushing GMOs to everybody. So obviously there's a nefarious plan behind it. And people were freaking out about it on Twitter. And I know I was glad to see, that people were actually, okay, hey, that was weird. What happened to their plan? Oh, do not own anything and you'll be happy. You just get to rent. If you want to cook, you can rent a pot and cook. Like that's coming straight from the World Economic Forum. Like, these people are insane. They literally want to control even how you brush your teeth or brush your hair. That's how it's going to come down to it. And if we allow them, if we keep acquiescing to this nonsense, oh my God, it will be what it took them less than a year to take down the United States of America without a bullet shot.
Yeah.
How long do you think it's going to take them to enslave us all? Maybe I'll say two more months now that Biden is come and take it all, right? So people need better stand back, stand up and just, hey, you get ready for no matter how you look at it. The trajectory, it seems to be, not, I wouldn't say civil unrest. It would be like clamping down on people. Yeah. So just, people need to be aware that, it's not going to be civil war. People were actually hoping that Trump would use the military and, know.
Like, they wanted martial law.
What? What? Well, since when that was good? You can't use your own army on your own people. That's like, what the hell did just happen? People were like hoping for it. And I was in shock, actually. I was really disappointed with a lot of people. And, I was glad that Facebook took my account down. I was like, I cannot hear that. I cannot believe people are actually wishing for that. So I'm like, the military would be deployed by powerful people, not for themselves. They would be ordering for you. And immediately the rhetoric from the media, they're all terrorists, all right-wing, white supremacists, extremists. I was like, oh my God, we are so, any conservative values, you're going to be like afraid now. They actually went out after the people that flew the airplanes, their bank accounts, their jobs. So, and that's part of the plan, I do believe. They want to break this whole Trump cult. Right? They want to re-educate us or, reprogram us. So yeah, they're going to clamp down. And every conservative or everybody that does not follow the left, whether you're libertarian or whatever, or you don't even have a name tag anywhere on any political view, they're going to come for you because you're going to have to obey and follow the plan. So that's why you have to be smart about what you post on social media, even if having social media at all. Just be careful because they will try to use everything against you when it comes down to like, oh, hey, you want government assistance now that you don't have a job or a business? Oh, take the shot and I'll give you $600 monthly universal income or whatever. Yeah. Oh, you want to get on an airplane? Oh, you have to take the shot. Show me. So yeah, that's how it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to affect you personally. You want to send your kids to school? Did they take the shot?
No way.
I actually read an article yesterday on Yahoo News. They're trying to push daily testing on public school students.
Yeah.
Imagine shoving that long swab up their noses every day.
Yeah, anybody that has their kids in public school at this point, I mean, you've got to really consider taking them out
Yeah,
because that is the most dangerous place that you can have your kids. They could call a lockdown at any time. Oh, we need to quarantine all kids for 3 weeks now. Can you imagine that?
I
They've done
know.
it. They've done it in other places, right? They can quarantine it, or if your kids, and that's the other thing. So I grew up in California. I grew up in and out of the child protective services, so I've been in through foster homes. There are just abuse mills for children, right? There's kids getting molested and raped and beat and all kinds of different things, right? The social workers, they're in on it. I mean, it's evil, right? I was old enough when I was in it to understand what was going on, so I wasn't a little kid being victimized, but I saw everybody else that was happening to,
Yeah.
right? And but here's the thing, and the reason I bring that up, your kid says the wrong thing to the wrong psychotic, you know, communist teacher. Well, they call CPS. I think their kid might be in danger. I think their dad has assault rifles at home. And then what do? They come over and take your kids. It happens all the time. Or it could be a lockdown or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? And I think having children in school at this point is extremely dangerous to not just your children, but your entire family, your way of life. I mean, my kid will never ever step foot in any type of public school. Period. Probably never a private
Okay.
school either.
Yeah, I pulled my kids out right away, immediately.
Good.
I was like, oh, nope, sorry, thank you, but no, thank you. I even sent a letter to the principal and to the superintendent here, and I trashed them for not taking a stand for the kids. And so, and I said, I will not. This is my intent to homeschool my children. So don't be asking where is Edin Chala. So, and she called me the next day, the superintendent. She's like, "Oh, I understand. Your point of view. It's just the teachers that are afraid. They do not want it. Why? Turns out later on that they wanted more money from the federal government for their
Yes.
union. I mean, what a disgrace! What a
Yeah,
disgrace!
I read that demand from the California, the school union, all the crazy things they were asking for. They wanted health care for all illegal aliens and like all kinds of crazy things. I mean, I saw it's all part of the scam. Everybody's trying to
Yeah.
get in on the coronavirus grift,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my
Free
God! Yeah.
money. Oh yeah, that's oh I tested positive. I got to stay home from work for a few weeks. It's just a
Yeah.
big scam. The whole thing.
Yeah. And they're
It's
going to be
disgusting.
teaching, I think, teaching kids to rat on their parents too. So
Yeah,
eventually the kids are going to be going and say, oh, I heard my parents say this and that. All of a sudden you got to knock on the door and they'll come and drag you and
yeah,
take the kids away from you. Like, seriously, this is not, I mean, people kind of caught heat from the Zoom classes, what the
yeah.
teachers have been teaching the students, what they're, doing. So I was like, I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm not surprised. I mean, if that, and they know that you are standing right there and they still have the gut and the goals to say whatever they are saying to your child. Imagine what they're doing to them when they're in the school all day.
Oh yeah,
The propaganda that's being pumped into these children. This whole generation, like I think the generation younger than me, the generation that's like the millennials, they're all wanting. They think socialism is something good. What
yeah.
is the disconnect here? Are you guys not teaching them history or real history?
No,
Have
they're
you?
not.
They're not. The kids are lost. Like they are really lost. I had we were in a I think I went on a Trump rally in Beverly Hills, and so we pulled up at a red light, and I had the camera. I was filming, and then like three 18-year-olds girls were in a car next to me. One of them rolled down the window, and she looked at me. She's like, "How can you support someone that is against, against having your right to have an abortion?" I looked at her, I have conservative values. And I looked at her, I was like, you want to kill your own offspring? Why would you want to kill your own children? Oh, they're not a child, it's a fetus. I was like, honey, how do you think you're pregnant? Obviously, the doctor hears a heartbeat in your belly. That's how they know you're pregnant. It's alive, it has a heartbeat. Really? And then she kind of like shocked. She like bamboozled, right? And then the lady in the front seat, she's like, "You're pretending you care about life, yet you are for execution, executing criminals." And I said, "You know that baby that I told you is a baby? If somebody harms my baby, I'm gonna go after them and kill them, and that's a promise. I will kill anybody that would tries to harm my child." So you're telling me, am I against life or pro-life? No, it has nothing to do. You shouldn't be killing your offspring. This is a community, like it's scary how people are celebrating murdering their own children. Oh my God, what's happening in the world? Why? Why? You already know the consequences of having a relationship with a opposite sex. Of course, this is a natural way of life. So, but to celebrate the murder of
Yeah.
these, unborn children, and demanding it, and it's heartbreaking, and it feels so evil to me. Like, I understand people say, oh, incest and rape and all that. Okay, there, you can't celebrate death like that. People are so nihilistic and disconnected from love and relationship and empathy. Like you said, it's so weird what's happening in the world, and it's globally, right? People are actually not procreating by choice. Like, I've seen so many couples in their like late 40s or 50s, and they just, hey, you didn't have kids? Oh no, we didn't want to have kids. So everybody's living selfish lives. They just want to,
Yeah.
and but also I've been seeing a lot of people my age who are not married, and for some reason they are dying young. uh,
Yeah.
Having a child gives you a purpose. It gives you a reason to live, right? You got to nurture that child. You can't like just leave them. But these people that are still single, like that are my age group, I would say like 40s and up, I've lost around 12 or 13 people that are around my age for drugs and car accidents, and it's just, and I feel like it's okay. Well, the whole marrying young is actually a good thing, because these people have a purpose to get up and go to work, and so I actually encourage people to get married early, not late. Don't
Yeah.
push, especially for women too that are being programmed. Oh, it's patriarchy. They just want you in the kitchen and pregnant and barefoot, whatever. No, no, no. You have more chances of having an abnormal child if you wait too long.
Hmm.
So, and these women just run after a career, and all of a sudden they look at themselves and they're all alone. They don't have children, they don't have a family, and they just, what is this career left to them? What are you gonna do? So, I always say, it's not that the women are destined. We are kind of, it's nature, our nature. We are made to bear children. We are made to nurture them. This, you don't have to worry if you can be home, not having to pay taxes and just answer to someone that's ordering you around all day at work. You are a queen in your own home, and you're taking care of your child. There is no more noble purpose for a person than that. So if you
Yeah.
actually have the opportunity not to work and be a stay-home mom, you should be so happy. But they made it look like, ew, ew, you're a soccer mom, ew, no. It's so bad how they're programming the women. I feel bad for a lot of them, because I see how they're being, taught that it's bad to have a child, ew, or it's bad to be a wife, a good, obedient wife to your husband, So it breaks my heart.
That's part of it. It's part of it's intentional programming, it's, it's like we're under control of a death cult, they love it. They love killing people all over the world, and they do it, they do it through direct means and indirect means at the same time. And yeah, I mean, birth rates all over the West are going down all over, and that's intentional. They don't want so many of us so-called useless eaters roaming the planet, taking up their space. They want very few of us, and I think they just want just enough of us to be able to order around and entertain them, because I think that's what we are to them. We're entertaining. I think like, oh, let's see if we can get them to burn their own cities down. I think they probably sit and say that,
Yeah.
and they laugh about it. Let's see if we can get them to agree to kill their children right when they come out of the the birth canal. And I think they do. I think that's what they do. They have unlimited money and power. I mean, I think, and they're all psychos, all of them. So I'm sure that's what they
Absolutely.
do.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
They're
they
like,
don't have
oh,
nothing
look at
else.
the
Yeah.
streets burning.
They don't have to run. They don't have our every day. You gotta get up and go to work and hustle and do all that. No, they're just sitting down like puppeteers. Oh, I'm gonna crash this country's economy today. Oh, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start a war. Oh, he dared and said something about the bank or the currency, or what they did to Gaddafi. Why all of a sudden we went and we annihilated that country?
Yeah,
There's actual slavery going on. People are being bought and sold, human
yeah,
slavery in Libya because of what we just did to them. The whole thing is because the Libyan I know people think he's crazy. There's a lot of truth in what he used to say. I followed like a lot of his speeches. The guy wanted to unite the African countries and come up with their own gold currency, gold backed currency, not World
Yeah.
Bank fiat money, paper. And so that's why they took him down, because they know Libya has a lot of resources, a lot of gold, a lot of oil. And he's going to dare and raise his head and unite with other. We're not going to make Africa's going to stay, you know, buried forever. They're going to be the one we're going to look at the TV and say, oh, poor people over there. They don't want them to like become, independent and have the strong economy. Of course not.
No.
So they got rid of him. Saddam Hussein, I think, actually not Saddam. Saddam Hussein, I think they started the war with him because he decided, I'm not going to sell oil for dollar anymore. I'm going to sell it for euro. And they went after him. Then you have Bashar al-Assad. The true story behind what's happening in Syria is that Hillary Clinton promised an oil pipe to go from Saudi Arabia to Turkey. He said, you're not going to be putting that through my country. And that's when they're taking him down.
Yeah.
So it's not just a deep state in the United States. It's a global deep state. These are the shakers and movers of the world. They are the 1% that sit behind a table in Davos in Switzerland and actually plan what's going to happen to the world. And it's not a secret. This is not a conspiracy theorist. Go to their website, go to their YouTube channel. Everything we're talking about is actually we are just regurgitating what they're planning. And so don't listen to anything. The best thing that can happen to people if we get an EMP, honestly.
Yeah.
And shut all this technology down and just let people like look around them. Nobody's dying in the streets. People wouldn't even know there's a pandemic if we didn't have this media telling us what's happening. People are not falling down and dying. Hospitals are not, war zones. So I just people need to disconnect from TV. Just turn it off, and you should be fine. I haven't watched TV in like over 5 years and I'm so happy.
Yeah, we don't have any cable service. My wife is still, she watches her stupid brainless shows, but no, I don't watch any TV, and definitely not any news or anything like that. I'll watch the news for creating analysis of it, but other than that, I watched not too long ago. I don't remember. I think it was like a coronavirus special on ABC or CBS. I'm not sure, but I saw it come up in my YouTube feed. I'm like, I'm gonna watch a full episode of the World Nightly News or whatever it is with that one black guy, real famous guy. I don't remember his name, but the real famous black guy reporter. And I couldn't believe what I was watching, because I hadn't watched a full, like, I'll see a clip of CNN that everybody laughs about once in a while, but I'd never watched a full episode. And I watched the full 40 minutes or whatever it was, and I was just shocked at how disturbing and well crafted their propaganda was. And it made me think, I'm like, okay, now I see why people are still on that train of oh, I'm so scared, because the ominous, scary music that they put out, and the intensity, and then they have interviews with the frontline heroes, and just, I mean, it's well crafted. It's very intentional, and the people that watch that every night when they get off work, I think those are the people that are wearing the masks and freaking out, and they're the ones crying that Joe Biden won today. Those are those people that are just so locked into the propaganda that they believe this fake reality that they're presented with.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, disconnect the TV. Just don't buy TVs anymore, people. Stop buying TVs.
Well, and the cell phones too. At some point, we're probably going to have to turn off our cell phones totally.
Yeah.
At some point, anybody that's aware of what's going on, we're just going to have to throw it away and not have it. We're going to have to go back to landlines, because, I mean, there's CIA tracking devices at this point, and that's how they get all of our behavior, all of the data that they get from us. They know where we go, what our behaviors are. And that's how they're so effective at programming people, is because they're tracking every little thing that all of us do. And eventually, I know it's going to be hard for people, but at some point, all of humanity that wants to be free is going to have to say, you know what, these cell phones got to go, because that's how they get us. They know every little thing about us. They know more about us than we know about ourselves. So much so that when you type a search into Google, it can predict what you're going to type before you type it now. That's the craziness that we're living through right now.
Yeah. In Gmail, I don't know if you noticed, in Gmail, when I'm typing like an email, and I'm like, what is this gray word that's coming up like in the front of the word I'm typing? And it's predicting what I'm about to type. And I always change it. And I
Yeah.
should stop using Gmail, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's just, it freaks me out. So, but here's the thing. So I was talking to my brother. He went to Dubai a couple of times in the past 6 months, and he told me that all of a sudden he doesn't see any security anywhere. Used to be securities by the malls and the big shops. He's like, there's no security or police. I don't see them. And he's like, but they have cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is like the Chinese credit system, whatever the monitoring. Obviously, we have cameras on every street light in every direction. You have this the machine, so the data is being pumped into the machine learning, the AI, and it seems that the mask pushing is for the AI to start like recognizing people's faces from just the eyes. The more he's like, because in back home, I've seen like a thing that comes out of the ATM. And I was telling my brother, what is this? He's like, oh, it's a retina scanner. I was like, it's a
Hmm.
what? He's like, yeah, if you forget your ATM card, you can just scan your retina and you can pull money out from the ATM. I'm talking, this is in Jordan. This is 5 years ago. I
Jeez.
freaked out. I was like, what? Every ATM has this thing? This, we don't even have this in America. America is like number one in the world. What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, you just go and you open a checking account. They tell you want to do your retina for ATM.
That is wild.
So, so me and my brother were talking about this whole Dubai situation, and we really think that they're just trying because they allow you into a bank with a mask. Think about it. You go to the bank and you're wearing a mask
Oh
in
yeah.
January, they would press the buttons. Police would shoot you on the spot. You try
It used
anything.
to be a felony to go into a bank with a mask on. Now
Exactly.
it's now you can get locked up for wearing a mask. It's so stupid.
So people are not thinking like, why are you allowing the? And I told my friend, I was like, if I'm gonna walk into a bank with a mask, I'm gonna be robbing it. I just understand that. But so it seems that they're trying to feed them AI machine to recognize people's faces from with just the eyes.
Yeah.
Which is, so you can imagine how much now he's in the airports in Dubai. There is no guards. There's like one metal door detector, and you walk in, and there's just cameras everywhere. It is. He told me it's freaky over there. It seems that they have this whole system already running, and same like the credit system. I actually got an email from Yelp about my business and the whole how we're going to increase your business and increase your rating. But then I see this news snippet that they're trying to label businesses as racist. So I
Yeah.
emailed the rep and I told them, thank you, but no thank you. If my business name comes up on your platform, I will sue you. Remove my business. I do not want it to appear in the search results on your platform.
Nice.
And I completely removed it because I don't want somebody to like say you get in a misunderstanding with a customer and then the customer is going to go like, oh, it's a racist and stamp racist on it. And then bam, they
Yeah.
take you off of, you know how much power you're yielding to a company?
Yeah.
This rating system thing, we're already in it. People think that, oh, that would never happen here. We're living it with Yelp, with Google reviews. You can take or make a business.
Airbnb,
Oh, yeah. It's
all of it.
dangerous, very dangerous.
Well, that's the thing that the difference is. So in China, they have it, but it's by the government. Here, our tyranny is coming from the big tech companies that are working with the government, right? And that's the
Oh, yeah.
problem. And
Oh, yeah.
what we're doing right now is we are trading our constitutional rights for a terms of service, not a terms of service that we agreed to or had to comment on. No, it's unilateral. It's a unilateral terms of service that they can change at any time. It says that in the contract. So we're agreeing to a contract that we really don't agree to, but we have to press it if we want to use their service. And they can change the contract at any time, which makes it illegal, by the way. In contract law, I'm not an attorney, but I'm very well familiar with contract law. If unilateral contracts just are not enforceable, and if one party changes the contract, it's also unenforceable. So the fact that they can just, oh, we can change it at any time, that's not how it works, right? A contract between two parties has to be willing without coercion, and they're already breaking all those laws. So yeah, but right now that's what we're doing. We're trading our constitutional rights for terms of service that some wacko communist or whatever you want to call them came up with. And pretty soon it's going to be, oh, do you believe in God? Yes or no? You press yes, then oh, decline. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Are you do you believe that people should own guns? Yes or no? No. Well, declined. That's what it's going to be at some point.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's why they're using big tech and the media to go after their competitors, right? Like they just shut down that Parler website, right? Which I had an account on, but didn't really use it all that much. But that's why they're shutting down their alternatives. They're using all their means to go after them because
Yeah.
they want people to have to conform to their world vision. And if we don't, well, we're ostracized from society. Cannot live in modern society.
Yeah, yeah, and it's scary because just for them to shut down monopoly is illegal in the United States, I believe, right? Having because they, according to our Congress, they were yelling at Sundar Pichai and Jack Dorsey. You really, really, these
Yeah.
don't you see how much power these people have? Google, the government relies on Google
Yeah.
for their satellite imagery, for their email service, through everything. The government is gonna, reprehend Google. Really, Google is the overlord of everybody. That seems to be, but also
Yep.
I've noticed that no, it's actually Amazon too. It
Yeah.
is, that's the Apple. So yeah, look at how much the circle is getting tighter and tighter. The people of control, right? And so for them to do what they just did to the United States of America, and especially with that hate speech, every crime is obviously you're not killing the person because you love them, but to
Yeah.
label it hate speech, it has a purpose. It has a engineering, social engineering issue.
Yeah.
Anybody can disagree with anybody. Any word I say might offend anybody. To
Yeah.
label everything hate speech, oh my God, that is so dangerous. Like
It's
I
the
could say,
agenda.
I hate pink, and somebody else's favorite color is pink. Now that's hate speech. Oh, she's using hate speech, and they go report you hate speech. Like
Yeah.
there is nothing called hate speech. This is mind control, and I um, actually every time I hear on TV, oh, it's a hate crime. No, no, no. Every crime is bad because obviously you don't kill somebody because you love them, right?
Hmm.
You obviously hated that person or hated that thing for you to commit something, let's say, against it. So it doesn't make sense, but it's just the way they program people. Oh, don't be so hateful. Oh, hateful, hateful. It's all about emotions these days. It's all about how
Yeah.
you feel. Facts don't matter. And say like, so that's what I feel like people that are awake, they see the hypocrisy of the left, right? Oh, they talk about there's 87,000 genders. Oh, and then when it comes to, hey, follow the science. We follow the scientists and the science, but then
Yeah.
you go and then see them talking about like, oh, there's so many genders, and you can be a mom today, you can be a dad today when you're a female and male, and the whole nine. Yeah. So that's why you cannot sign up to these, labels anymore. Just understand they're going to come after you from every direction, and
Seems to
it's
be the
getting,
plan.
mm, yeah, yeah, it's getting scary. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate you talking to me today. I was immediately impressed with whatever you were saying, especially about this following this whole psyops, that people need to wake up to the false flags. Like seriously, it's time to
Yes.
wake up and stand up for yourself. And I encourage everybody, and I will put a link to your channel in my description.
Great.
I still do not know how to work library yet. I am trying to move to BitChute. BitChute needs a lot of work, honestly. But library, I'm still trying to figure it out. But I will leave links in everything I have for your channel. You're amazing, and I had really great time talking to you. You're very smart, and I appreciate you giving me the time also. And I hope we can do this again soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. I had a blast, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't really check into you all that much, but pleasantly surprised. So I really appreciate what you're doing over there, and take care of your family. And yeah, let's do it again real soon.
Sounds good to me. Thank you so much. I really
All right,
appreciate it.
take care. We'll
You
talk
too.
to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.